Alan McBride, Simon McLean.
Nice to meet
How
you.
you doing? Thanks for coming in today.
No problem.
To our session at Nethercreeks. What did you think of the standard across the road?
I really enjoyed it actually. If I hadn't been so knackered after Saturday at the festival,
What was happening on Saturday?
It's a Walking Football Festival, which we took part for Parkinson's. Glasgow Life Parkinson's group took part for our first ever match. So it was good.
Is that your first ever game of football as a team?
First ever as a team, yeah.
Brilliant.
First time ever a Parkinson's team have ever been involved as well. So, you know, and presumably in the Scotland side, I'm not sure about obviously down south, but yeah, it was great.
That's interesting. And did you enjoy it?
I loved it.
How many of you there were suffering from Parkinson's?
8 or 9 of us were there with Parkinson's.
And Drew Wilson runs it for Glasgow Life.
Ricky Gray.
And Ricky, of course.
And then Russell is one of our volunteer coaches.
Russell Swanson.
Yeah, but he was working. He
was the 70s.
Yeah, he was doing his bit. And Peter, I can't remember his surname. Peter's
Jordan.
His wife's got Parkinson's disease, so he's a volunteer coach at our Thursday groups as well.
Brilliant.
So it was a really good turnout for us all.
So we'd better talk about that then on Thursdays. What is it that happens on a Thursday?
Well, a Thursday, from October last year, we were introduced to Parkinson's Active through Glasgow Life.
Okay.
And it was a 10-week trial for walking football to see when they would go, see when we would get involved.
Yep.
And when I got the first email, I thought, I don't know about this, I don't think this is for me.
Did that come through Parkinson's Association?
Yeah, I think it was through, but I don't know if it was Parkinson's Active got in touch with Glasgow Life, looking to start something off, to, you know, like a new treatment plan for us as such.
Yeah.
And then one of the girls from who runs the Glasgow Young Onset Parkinson group, Fiona, she had emailed me to say that we're looking to start up a walking Parkinson's football group. Would you be interested? And I was like, well, you know, I've not kicked a ball about since I was in high school. And
so you've not played football really, other than with
no, never. You know, maybe kick out at the back with my young boy when he was young.
Yeah.
But never played football. You know, never really understood, especially the offside rule. I think that's a standard thing for a lady. But no, but we went to first session and it was like, oh God, it was really good. You know, so we went back the next week. Every week it was like, what they're going to show us now, and it was like different like warm up methods and you know how to kick the ball and how to return the ball, and it was the sessions were just well.
Drew Wilson was involved in that.
Yeah, Drew Wilson.
He must have been reading from a book or something then, was he?
I think they actually got help as well.
He must have got help.
They were giving guides.
Teaching you how to pass the ball.
They were giving guidelines on how to teach us guys.
How to tailor the session.
Yeah, for us, because every one of us are there with different, you know, aspects of Parkinson's.
What's the age group then that's at the park? See, when I think of Parkinson's, I think of people maybe in their 50s, probably in their 60s actually.
I think the majority of people associate Parkinson's disease with people over 70s.
Right.
Whereas I was only 49 when I was diagnosed.
Right.
There is people, obviously, they're a lot younger than myself that are diagnosed, but at our session on a Thursday, I'm the youngest one.
You're the youngster.
Yeah, I'm just the baby.
Development squad.
You know, so I don't really know what the ages the other guys are. Okay,
and I know nothing about Parkinson's, but I'm assuming that there's different levels of onset of Parkinson's.
Yeah,
different symptoms.
There's different symptoms. There's no two people you could sit in the same room with and have the same thing. Whether some people might have a tremor, some people don't have. Mine was associated with a tremor to start with before my diagnosis.
Right.
You know, I would be sitting and I'd be shaking really bad in a chair, and eventually when I went to a GP...
Is it always the right hand, Karen?
Not necessarily. No. It's your brain, if the Parkinson's affects one side of your brain, then that affects the other side of your body.
Okay.
Apparently, so... Okay. You know, you lose dopamine in your brain, and that's what causes the symptoms of Parkinson's, which is the stooping, the slowness of movement, the shakes and tremors. So everybody's is different. My GP picked up on me not blinking, which I would never have clicked. No. But people think I'm staring them out, and I'm not. It's because it's Parkinson's disease.
Okay.
You know, and like the first time I seen the consultant for the neurologist consultant, he said, "Does anybody ever comment on your face?" I says, "Oh, for God's sake."
It's a bit personal.
No, but you know, I
get that all the time, and thankfully I've not got Parkinson's.
Well, people used to always say, "Oh, smile, it's not that bad." And I'm like, well, you know, I'm not thinking. I don't realise I'm not smiling, but that's to do with the Parkinson's as well.
Okay.
It's called like a Parkinson's facial mask, where you lose your facial muscles.
Right.
So people just think you're dour, but you're actually not. You know,
It's amazing what we learn here.
It's an education to myself and my family.
Yes.
Never mind anybody who doesn't understand it.
So let's go back then. We'll come back to walking football because that's what we're here for, really, is your story about the walking football, and I'll talk about how it's helping. But let's go back from that to your diagnosis. How long do you think you had Parkinson's before you found out that you had it, Cam?
Well, I seen a consultant in 2019, December. He said then at the first meeting, I'm 99% sure you've got Parkinson's.
And what had come to get you to the consultant stage? What were the symptoms?
Well, there was a few things. I had been to my GP. My dad had passed away and I needed to go and get a sick line.
Okay.
But in the hospital, when I was taking care of him, I was shaking a lot and the nurses would bring me tea and I'd be shaking. I'm going, oh, it's fine, it's just a tremor.
You're putting it down to the stress of dealing with your dad?
Yep.
Yeah.
So when he passed away, I went to my GP for a sick line and she said to me straight off, she's not going to do a wee referral to neurology for you. I don't think it's anything to worry about, but I just want to get you checked over. I said, yeah, that's fine, go for it. And that was in June, and then I got the letter through and I was to go and see the consultant in the 16th of December 2019.
Okay.
Dropped my boy at school. He was
what's his name?
Andrew.
Andrew. What age is he?
He's now 14.
Andrew.
A great lad. So I dropped him at school. My husband's about to work, and I went to the appointment on my own, thinking this is not going to be anything.
Just routine.
But the minute the consultant got me to walk down a corridor, he said he knew right away because of the way I walk with a stoop,
right,
shuffling my feet, not swinging my arms.
Okay.
So
they can tell.
They're all classic
so
symptoms.
Much just from looking at you?
Yeah, just from looking at you.
Wow.
So we done what they called a CT scan and a DAT scan where they inject you with a nuclear medicine.
Okay.
It lights up the parts of your brain that should have dopamine, but it doesn't light up because you don't have dopamine.
Okay.
So that's when the diagnosis comes from that.
Wow.
I know.
And that was 2019?
That was December 2019. I spoke to him and then I got the scans and then it was all confirmed on the 16th of March 2020.
And did that all make sense to you when they started to tell you the symptoms and stuff? Were you starting to think, that makes sense now, all the bits line up? Yeah,
because in work, at the time, I was constantly falling over and having accidents in work. It didn't matter what job I was in, but I've always worked in retail. Don't really want to say the employer's name because they weren't very nice at the end.
Okay.
But even working from Woolworths to Safeway, I was always falling and always in
I don't remember Woolworths, I'm too young.
Heard it. But I was always in the accident book because I'd tripped over something. So these things were all the big trigger points when you go back.
Yeah.
And in 2014 they were trying to test me actually for MS, and it came back there was no MS.
Okay. But they knew there was something there.
There was something, but that was only because my own GP picked up on my symptoms in that chair in the June of 2019 that there was something definitely wrong.
Let me ask you a question then, because you often hear this of conditions, and I think Parkinson's is one of them, that there's some kind of trauma in your life that brings it to the fore.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think losing your dad and going through that experience with your father being ill, do you think that maybe brought it forward?
I don't particularly think so because it had been going on for quite a long time prior to that, but I just think the build-up, because he'd been in hospital for 8 weeks, he came home for 2, went back in, and my mum was in at the same time, we nearly lost her.
Jeez.
So I had the two of them in different parts of the Queen Elizabeth.
Right.
I'm trying to run about between the two, take care of my boy, take care of my husband. He does the cooking, he takes care of me, I don't take care of him. But
I was the same.
All everything was just getting the top on me, the anxiety with trying to take care of my dad and stuff, and that's when all the symptoms all came to such a big head.
Yeah. Wow.
I know. It was a big shock because even things that when I would be taking my boy when he was in an athletic club at the time, and we used to go up to McBride and we'd go and drive up there, and then the walk from the car park to the club, and he would go, "Oh, you walk so slow, Mum, come on, keep up. And I'm like, "Oh, just go ahead and I'll catch up with you." And when you think back to then, that's all part of the Parkinson's.
Yeah.
The progression of Parkinson's that's been in me for a long time prior to the diagnosis.
Yeah. And now that you've known since December 2019, then lockdown came.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
Just after that.
Yeah.
So how did that? Because I've got relatives, I've got friends that have got Parkinson's, and what I always hear is that activity is one of the key things to keep active. Physical activity, to keep moving, and that helps stave off the symptoms of Parkinson's. Yeah. But lockdown must have been tricky.
It was tricky. I mean, when I first get told, it's better if you keep moving, keep active, and then lockdown kicked in, I thought, well, that's like a lot of people thought, this is a time just to not be active.
Yeah.
So, I kind of like milked it for a bit. And then eventually...
Were you working at that point?
I was actually not paid off, I was awfully sick at the time.
Okay.
Because my GP had said...
Following your diagnosis?
Yeah, she said you need time off to progress.
Can't be accustomed to it.
Get used to what's going to happen, from the next
And
stage
what was your
life.
job at that time?
I worked in retail.
Right. Have you always been in retail?
Always.
Okay, we'll come back to that then.
Right, go for it.
Without mentioning the baddies, the bad company. So lockdown comes along.
Yeah.
Andrew's off school.
Yeah.
What's hubby's name?
Kev. Kevin, aye.
You've got to give him a mention. I'll never hear the end of that.
Oh God, after 31 years, he needs to get a mention. So he works for Glasgow City Council, so he as well was like...
It's not often you hear the word work in Glasgow City Council.
That's probably very true.
I take your point.
It's a salary at the end of the week.
So was he laid off as well?
Well, yeah,
laid up?
Not even a work from home, because there wasn't a work from home.
What does he do?
He works for Glasgow City Parking.
Right. Okay, so you can't work from home.
No, you couldn't work from home because
no cars on the road.
So there was nothing to do.
So the three of you are kind of stuck at home.
Yep.
So how did your Parkinson's get affected then? Did you manage to get out walking?
Well, even come the January, there was the March of lockdown.
Yeah.
I still hadn't had like any medication prescribed, and I still hadn't been that. I was told in December you'll be allocated a Parkinson's nurse, and there was still nothing like that. So when you're sitting
because the NHS is starting to get stressed now.
Well,
with
exactly.
COVID, all the resources are going towards COVID.
Everything was told that it's not important now because COVID's everybody's from simple things like physiotherapists and getting sent to do other jobs, and I understood that. Yes. At the same time, I still wanted to speak to somebody, but when was I going to start medication? What was I going to be on? How many a day? So eventually I just gave up and phoned Parkinsons UK, and they helped me pursue an appointment to see a Parkinson's nurse specialist at the Queen Elizabeth.
So Parkinsons UK are a great resource for you.
Yeah, I think if you're struggling for anything, whether it's from your mental health or looking for help with maybe putting a claim in for Department or PIP or anything like that, they're the go-to people for
because they've got all that experience.
They've got loads of it.
Is there a Parkinson's Scotland?
Yeah, Parkinsons UK Scotland. Yeah, they've got a
it's a Scottish branch of it.
And each branch has got little different feed-offs. That be the Glasgow Young Onset Parkinson's Group. We meet the first Wednesday of the month.
Right.
And the town and Jury's Inn, and we have meetings. And we get to meet people who may be newly diagnosed. There was a guy in the last meeting.
When you need that support.
But we all need it. At the time when I had needed the support, it eventually went online. That's when Zoom became the big thing. So it was great. I got to meet people, that way online.
Because the meetings are great, but usually it's local. It's very local. Yeah. And Zoom opened up the whole world.
Very much, because we're having meetings with people from down in England to Aberdeen, Dundee. So
as far as Aberdeen?
As far as Aberdeen, the Granite City. But so it was good, because if it wasn't for that,
we'll get the contact details up here for anyone that needs them. Wants advice. Down here, not up here, down here. I never know where they are. I need to look behind me to see them. So, Parkinsons UK, you got more advice from them at that point than the NHS? And did you get medication then? Eventually,
the Parkinson's nurse got through, and the consultant at sort of time sent a prescription to my GP.
Yeah.
And then it came through, and then there was all this, we were running short because everything, nothing was moving, even...
I think there's an important thing in there, Karen, for anybody that's suffering from any serious illness or thinks they might be or not sure, but once you get that diagnosis, my wee girl was diagnosed with cystic fibrosis a long time ago, but the NHS is here dealing with everything, and now we've got a specific problem, whether it's Parkinson's or a type of cancer or cystic fibrosis. There's usually an organisation in the middle there. Dementia, all these things, and they're the go-to people because they've got all the experience, they've got other patients, other clients who have gone through what you're going through, so there's always a go-between there that's worth getting the contact details of and being in touch.
You've got to, sometimes with that, you had to go and find it yourself at the beginning because there was nobody to phone and nowhere to go.
You maybe get a signpost. What you'll see in the GP surgery and sometimes in the hospitals, a wee trolley, a wee container with leaflets in it that nobody ever looks at until you need something.
Well, again, they weren't doing anything because of COVID, so they weren't passing anything out.
Yeah.
So even like
so it's the internet now. That's where we need to go.
Everybody needs to go. Even at my last meeting with my Parkinson's nurse, She gave me a booklet for the first time, and it was all the different drugs and medication that can be prescribed for Parkinson's.
Right.
You know, that was our first after nearly just over 2 years.
Wow.
So, you know,
you've got to be proactive.
You've got to push it for yourself.
Yeah, that's a good lesson.
Nobody's going to go to you. You need to go to them and then take it from there.
And the medication, can that vary right across the board? You said that there's no two people the same. I take it the medication can be different for everybody as well.
I mean, there's various brands, but what they say is this particular brand of Cinemet or Coca-Levodopa is the gold standard drug for people with Parkinson's.
Okay.
This is the same drug that's been prescribed since Parkinson's was first found by Mr. Parkinson.
1940 something.
18 something.
Was it?
Yeah, way back.
Wow.
So it's the same medication. So, but it gets to a point where it only works for people for so long.
Right.
When I first started, it was like 1 tablet 3 times a day.
Right.
And now I'm at 2 tablets 4 times a day.
Okay.
You know, and if I wasn't like that, I wouldn't be able to sit here without, you know, my head shaking, my legs shaking, and my arms going.
So the medication keeps all that under control?
Not all the time.
Right.
You know, depending on the situation. You know, like obviously after the football festival on Saturday, you're using more because you're using more energy.
Yes.
And that your medication gets absorbed quicker.
It's like diabetes and all these things. You need to look after your energy levels.
Sometimes you need to take it maybe a wee bit earlier than you would probably think.
So you've got to plan your life around that.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah.
You know, I know one of the guys who plays table tennis a lot as well. He takes his medication to suit when he's going to play a game.
When he's going to play. My brother's diabetic, type 1, and he takes biscuits with him and stuff to control his blood sugar depending on what his lifestyle. So it's a similar idea. Let me ask you something that might be of benefit. Hopefully not, touch wood. But if we're playing football, we might or might not know if somebody's got Parkinson's. Some people would say, but a lot of people wouldn't say to strangers. What would a Parkinson's episode look like if somebody took not well whilst we were playing walking football, or even in here having a coffee and a cup of tea?
I wouldn't really know.
No.
You know, apart from like one of the guys who fell over at the football on Saturday.
Right, at the festival.
Giving himself a head injury, concussion and stuff like that. Other than that, I wouldn't really know.
Okay.
I think if somebody was, you know, like I was playing table tennis on Friday and I was in a bit of a mess. The bat, I couldn't hold the bat, was shaking.
Okay.
And somebody says, you need to take your medication early. And I said, I don't really want to because I'm going out after here to take my mum shopping.
Right.
And I need that kick
the energy
then.
for that.
The energy for that rather than just, you know, for the game of table tennis.
Yeah.
So, in different scenarios, you know, if you could have seen me on Friday try to hold a table tennis bat, it was hopeless.
Right. Yeah.
But, you know, I still done it. I finished up a wee bit earlier than I would have done, but...
Okay. And where does walking football fit in here then? How did that come about in October?
One of the ladies who runs the Young Onset group, Fiona, had emailed me to say they're hoping to set up a walking football team or group. Would you be interested? And I said, yeah, right, put my name down.
What made you go along?
Curiosity, I think.
Nosy.
I think it's nosiness because I hadn't met anybody else by then from the group face to face because of COVID. Everything had been online. So I was interested to see who was going to be there, and like especially for myself, how many ladies were going to be there.
Yes.
And there was only 4. There was 4 of us, and I think at the time there was 7 guys.
Okay.
Now there's only 2 of us still regulars at the football. So, but there's more than just me and Sandra, who have Parkinson's disease. Who, you know, as in women in Glasgow, and the rest of Glasgow.
Yeah.
There must be other people out there that maybe would like to come along and join.
There must be. Yep. And so tell us about the session then. What happens at the session, after the session? Well,
before the session, but once the session starts up, it's normally Russell that does what he calls a dynamic warm-up with us.
Okay.
You know, so the more we've been doing it, the harder the warm-up's
Russell's 74, so his dynamic warm-up.
I know, but still it's perfect for us.
Is it?
It's really good. It's really, really patient with us all. So he does his dynamic warm-up, and then we do a little bit of drills and training.
I've never heard the 2 words Russell and dynamic together in the same sentence.
That's what he calls it. We admire him for his talent.
He's a great football player.
He's brilliant.
Yeah, he's a good lad.
So they do that, and we then learn about touches and passing, and you know.
So you do a wee training, a wee coaching session?
We do the whole training and coaching session.
Right.
And then after that...
And then you get a game?
Then we get a game. Sometimes we actually might get like a game of basketball before it was... We throw a ball just to get
good for
catch.
Coordination.
It's good for coordination. And then maybe for 10-15 minutes we'll get a kick
football at the end.
Yeah. So it's good, but the only past 2 Thursdays was when they started to tell us, by the way, we've entered you into a festival and you've only got 3 touches to a ball and you can't go in that box if it's in that. So we're like, oh my God, 2 weeks to go and you're telling us the actual rules for bottle football. But, you know, we done it on Saturday, we done brilliant, we all took part. Yeah. So it was great.
And you had Drew in goals. So that explains why you never did that well at the end of it. The results weren't that great, but that's the goalkeeper. Aye, not bad. He's great at falling over as well. I thought he'd be good in the goals. We've got a wee clip we can maybe show that because it cheers everybody up when you see Drew falling over again. Oh no!
Yes! I got it! You! I got it! I sounded like you!
Because he's a master at it. It's a 10 out of 10. So, the socialisation then, after, what time is your session on the Thursday?
11 till 12. And then after that we go upstairs and get a cup of tea. And
this is at Tory Glen? And that's laid on for you?
Tea's laid on for us, and sometimes put biscuits out, but I do a bit of home baking and I take stuff in for them.
Right. Oh, I heard him talking about carrot cake.
Banana cake.
That's true. That's the only reason he's there, really, I think. At the walking football, and this is where the lockdown affected us badly, we hear it lots of times that the main thing isn't the hours football, it's the chat afterwards.
It's the socialising.
Is that important in your section as well?
Yeah, it's very important because, you know, there's a few of the guys who are very quiet, very quiet. Yeah. You know, and maybe we go upstairs and don't say a lot when we're sitting we're sitting having a chat, but for them it's to be with other people, I suppose, not necessarily other people with Parkinson's, but just to be out the house and be with other people. Yes. You know, so it's good.
And you get a chat about anything at all, because life goes on. Yeah. Everybody's always got stuff going on. Yep. And that's the same here with the walking football. You hear the noises die down a wee bit now, but for that half hour, it's really loud. Yeah, that's right. Because everybody's catching up and blethering, and that's what it's all about. So how did the Evening Times come about then, Karen? Because that's how I saw your story, and I've spread it on the internet, and it goes bananas. Everywhere loves to hear stories, especially stories like yours.
I know. Well, it was, again, Fiona had been asked. Fiona played the walking football 10-week trial thing prior to Christmas.
And from October.
Yeah, but she didn't want to do it after Christmas. So when she was asked if she would take part in an interview, she said there was no point because she wasn't still doing it, but she forwarded my details. Right. And I said, that's fine. So a girl called Ruth from Parkinsons UK got in touch and just done a telephone call with a blog. She said it was going to be a blog, so I presumed it was just going to be something on the Parkinsons UK website. Right. And then they had one of the girls had come down from Parkinson's Active, and she took some photographs at Tory Glen and whatever. And before I knew it was in Evening Times. Well, I honestly didn't know it was going to be in the newspaper. But anyway, it was a nice surprise.
Yeah, was that a nice surprise?
No, a horrible surprise.
I thought that's what you meant, really. Yeah. But have you had positive feedback from it as well?
Well, I'm not. For me personally, I've had maybe family or friends that have seen it and said that was great, but I don't know about Parkinson's UK itself. If they've had people approach them saying, "How do we get into this?" or I'm not. Because
that's the big idea, isn't it? To spread the word for anybody out there. Yeah. Because I reckon there's probably 10% of people that of walk of life know about walking football, and it'll be the same for the Parkinson's community, if you like. And it's important that there's places they can go, and they're not talking about sitting around a table with a pity party, talking about what's wrong with them. No. We're talking about playing football and enjoying it and going for a cup of tea and enjoy the banter.
Well, that's it. I mean, one of the guys at our group, one of the older guys, Les, he was really struggling and started to step back from the football. Right. But once he went to see his Parkinson's nurse, and he's on the same amount of medication that he was on, but they've changed the timings. Okay. And now he comes to the football with such a enthusiasm that he'd lost for a bit. Yes. So it's it's great when he comes back now and he comes upstairs for a chat afterwards, and it's great to see that because it's good for him. Yeah,
and that proves that because life's kind of like that, ups and downs, and it's when it's on the downward, which we all have, for all different types of reasons, especially parents and husbands and wives and things like that. That's when you need to be in touch with other people. Oh yeah. No, and it's easy when you're up here feeling great. But when you're not feeling so good, that's when you need to get to these things and get a wee pick-up. Because there's always somebody worse off, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
So what's the plans for your walking football career now that you put? Did you enjoy competing? I know it was non-competitive, but
well,
that's only goes so far.
It didn't seem like non-competitive on Saturday. I think we were a wee bit.
A referee, you're caught in the headlights a wee bit, right?
I think we were like, way out our depth, but we still we played every game that we could with as much enthusiasm. I scored 2 goals in 2 different games. So did Brian. So Brian and I were joint top scorers. A few of the other guys get the 1 goal, so it was good. But
excellent.
Where it goes from here, I'm not entirely sure, but I think we'll just keep sticking to our Thursday sessions. We meet once a week.
Maybe get some friendlies. That's what we'll do, is bring a team over to your Thursday and have a friendly with some of the boys. Because the more people we get involved, the better.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was good. It was good on Saturday because there's a guy in here that I had helped out at the dementia walking football, the Scotland UK thing Matt had organised.
Yes.
So I went and helped out at that. Again, I was the only female out of God knows how many men.
Yeah. And
all the dementia men were there. So that was a bit of an eye opener as well.
Yeah.
So we were playing with them, and one of the guys that was in here that day, I said, he says, I've seen you at Tory Glen.
That's right, it's that networking, isn't it?
So it was good to see a few faces
familiar
again.
Faces, yeah. Karen, I never asked you where you're from. Where were you born?
Well, I'm from Glasgow.
Right.
Grew up in Castlemilk, and at the moment I stay in Rutherglen. I've stayed in Rutherglen for a long time, my husband and
Right. Castlemilk girl, went to school in Castlemilk?
Yeah, Castlemilk.
What school?
Well, I went to a school called Arm Pryor Primary School for P1 to 6, which is no longer there. Then P7 to Castleton Primary, and then I was at Glenwood Secondary School.
Right.
So up to 16.
Not done surviving that.
Yeah, no, it's not bad.
And you left school when you right into retail, did you?
No, my first job was in a chip shop.
Right. Well, that's retail, isn't it?
No, not really, but I suppose it's still
good. You do that fast thing, wrapping a fresh supper.
Well, I could, but I don't know that I could do it now. I'm probably good at shaking the salt on.
That'd be a newspaper in those days, I don't know.
No, there's newspaper then, yeah. And then into retail after that. So.
What do you mean by retail then? Shops?
Shop work, yeah. Right. I went into Safeway, and then from Safeway went to Woolworths, and from Woolworths, when they closed in, 2009. And then went into another job.
This will be news to some folk on here that Woolies is shut.
Well, it's still open in Australia, believe it or not.
Australia?
Yes.
Right. Same company?
I'm not entirely sure, no.
Woolworths, because it's a brand.
No, it's a branded name.
Karen, it's been great of you to come along and tell us your story. It's fascinating for somebody like me who's only on the peripheral of it. But I love the idea of the sessions that you've got going there. And you said it was a 10-week trial from October.
Yep.
I take it because of the success of it then? Like Glasgow Life have kept it going?
Glasgow Life, I'm sure, I don't know who pays for it, if they're getting any funding from Parkinsons UK.
Okay.
I know we need to try and get the numbers up, because I think if they don't keep the numbers up, it could
it's
could
like
disappear,
everything else, yes.
Which would be a shame to see.
Because
the ones that always that go regular, we go there for a reason.
Yes.
And I don't want to not have that reason to go for a lot of us.
So what we'll do is we'll get the details of Parkinsons UK, the people that you deal with, and we'll make sure that they see what we're doing here.
Yeah,
and maybe get someone from Parkinson's along to talk to us.
Yeah.
And give us the inside track. Karen, fantastic.
No, thanks very much.
And Kevin Andrew got a mention.
Yeah, I know, I got a small mention anyway.
Great to meet you, Karen.
No, thanks very much. It was great. Thank you.
There's some on here.
Oh, God. Yeah, I'm just seeing it. He's up.